stress, I always look to him first. You know, I have a really loving family that I know I can reach out to at any time that support me in all my tribulations that I go through. So.
All right, great. Thank you.
Last spring, I think you said you take whatever role you could find, whether it's special teams or whatever. Did you exceed your own expectations as far as being, a starter and the number of snaps you logged as a true freshman?
I had my goals for the last season coming up. I fell short of a few of them, but I always felt like I was more than capable of going out there and competing with some of the best players. So,
how much transfers from the last system to this system for you guys?
As in, like, schematically, or what do you mean?
I don't know how much schematically you guys have gotten into the thick of it yet, but I guess the teachings in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, like I was kind of saying before, defense is defense. Everybody has their own defense. It's just called something different. So there's some relation, but of course with Coach Rashi coming over, he has his own terms and own rules that he goes by that we apply now.
Is there anything different with having a DC who's the linebackers guy too?
Well, that was the case last year with Coach Hayes. So it's not that much of a difference. Yeah.
What would you tell yourself? You had to tell yourself last year. I mean, you couldn't imagine what was ahead for you. But if you had to tell yourself a piece of advice, what would it be?
Just keep playing and having fun. At the end of the day, you can't control what happens, but just as long as you show up every day and put in work, that's all that matters.
Obviously, you and Cal are the experienced guys in the room now, but talk about the other guys and maybe one or two that you see bright things for in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't see myself as a lot of experience. We brought in Wayne Matthews from ODU, who's a really good, detailed, hard worker. He's going to be a really good player for us. And then we brought in senior Jordan Turner from Wisconsin, who's also had more experience than me. So, I'm still kind of in that young guy role compared to some of the other guys in the room. But both of those guys are going to come in here and play their part. And then, we brought in a young guy, Brady. He's been, going through the ropes, learning new things, but he's getting increasingly better every day. So,
you mentioned the advice to yourself would be just have fun, keep playing. How much did that factor into how it went last year when, obviously the opportunity for guys to hop in the portal was there when Mel was fired, but not many went. Most guys stayed. And obviously Harlan was credited with keeping together. Was that, I guess, what was your mindset like at that time amid all the uncertainty?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just the same thing. At the end of the day, I'm here to play football. I try not to get too distracted about the outside things that go on. So it's really the same mindset. As long as I'm here playing football, there's not too much to complain about.
Seems like even as a freshman last year, you had a leadership role on this team. But how would you say that has improved now as you head into your sophomore season?
I would say it's just still improving. Like I said, especially in our room, I'm still kind of the young guy. I know I've played here last year, but year-wise, I'm still one of the young guys. So just still trying to be as vocal as I can. Still trying to, accept the role as best as I can and go about it like that.
What were your initial impressions of Coach Smith when you first talked to him, and what were your impressions of him now that you've kind of gone through some practices and seen his demeanor on the field?
So our first team meeting here, he gave us all a piece of paper and told us to write down the 3 things that we thought were the issues with the team last year. I wrote down 2 things, and on the third thing, let me backtrack real quick. He told us that he was going to go through all of these personally, and so I wrote down 2 things that I felt were an issue from last year, and on the third one, I told him, this is how we're first going to build trust. I just really want to know if you're going to read this or not. And so I left my number on there. I told him to give me a call once he read it. And I think a day or 2 after that, he gave me a call and we sat down. And that was kind of like a big jump start to our relationship. He's been with the offense more often, but, just from that experience alone, I have a lot of trust in him, and I feel like he has the team's best interest at heart.
What were the other 2 things?
Kind of what Coach Smith talked about. It was high output, low ego. A lot of guys that we had on the team last year, everybody has their own ego. It's just being able to manage those egos. And I think the second thing I said was just not everybody being connected. And, given our situation last year, it's kind of hard to be. But, we've been doing a good job of just everybody being connected and whatnot this year. So.
Yeah.
Hitting with reverse psychology, would say, if you see this coming, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a lot of head coaches when they're in a position, they care, but not to a certain extent. They'll have somebody else do it just to kind of see what the basis is. But it meant a lot to me, and it was a great start to our relationship that he took the time out to personally read it and give me a call.
How is he on the field then? I mean, he seems like he's got a way about him, like a West Coast kind of mellowness, but is there an intense side that you get to see?
I haven't seen him get too riled up yet. I'm sure that he has that ability, but most of the times, if we cross paths during practice, he's usually just pacing around, observing like regular head coach. So
It's a crazy question. You may have been asked this already, but for a freshman, asking why you came back, because in this day and age, college football people are leaving all the time and so forth. What drew you back to Michigan State and to stay in it?
yeah, I kind of touched on it a little bit before. Coach Rossi had a big part to play in that. I spoke about our first conversation that we had, and how he didn't really I think I had a pretty decent freshman year, and he kind of neglected that and kind of focused on more of the things that I needed to work on, and kind of how I looked at it is because transferring was an option. I felt like me staying here would basically be like I transferred with a whole new staff coming in. So I just felt that it was best, and this is a really good situation, and I feel like it's playing out well. So,
Why is it a good situation? What do you like about it?
I feel like I've learned a lot through Coach Rossi. I feel like I can be accepted more into that leadership role with the team. So yeah.
Who was the chief recruiter for your mom?
I don't think anybody had to. I know, as you guys know, my mom loves it here.
Yeah.
So she wanted me to stay, but she's always being supportive and whatnot. So.
When you told her that you planned to stay, what was kind of her feeling?
Well, like I said, it wasn't like it was never like I don't know if I'm gonna stay or leave. I was here. We never really. I showed up here in January. We never really talked about I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go there, I'm looking at this or whatnot. I was enrolled here December, and I came back in January, and that was the plan, that was the deal.
You taking a minute to kind of process the wild year and a half now since you've been here?
Oh no! I mean, it's situations long gone. I'm focused on spring ball, new team, new staff, getting after it.
Did you add weight at all, I guess, during the off season, just because the scheme is different and requires maybe more shedding blocks and some maybe more stuff that's physical, I guess, from that standpoint.
When Coach Rossi first got here, he told me I had a good height, weight, and size on me. So just throughout the winter workouts and whatnot, I've been losing fat, gaining muscle, staying the same weight. So
It sounds like kind of, I think, a recurring theme that we're hearing is that this staff has, I guess, attracted you guys because they have this ability not to blow smoke. That they come at you straight and they stay straight, and the guys appreciate that.
yeah, I would 100% agree with that. They'll let you know when you do something good, but even more importantly, they'll let you know when you do something bad. But we've, as a team, we've accepted, our mistakes. They make sure that they tell us our mistakes. We get it corrected, get it fixed, and we try not to make those mistakes again.
Appreciate it. Cool.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it, man.
Yep.
What's the most attractive aspect of the new scheme from your standpoint?
Just the opportunities that the linebackers can make. Coach Rossi has coached a lot of good linebackers in the NFL, and for good reason. He's a great coach. So just being here with him and taking all the knowledge that he has to get in is really attractive to me.
I mean, as far as the mentality, obviously everybody keeps talking about it's more aggressive. I mean, how much does that kind of seed buy-in a little bit easier when you do have more of an attack-minded scheme?
Yeah, as linebackers, we always want to attack. So it's really appealing to us when we're able to play free and make plays. So I think the whole linebacker room can agree with me when I say we're excited about that and being able to be in more positions to make plays.
I know it's early, but what do you think 7 practices and just kind of the outlook is for this team heading into the rest of spring practice and how things are going?
I think everybody's really excited, including myself. We've been taking steps as a defense. I can't speak on the whole team, but I'm sure the offense is taking steps as well. But we keep preparing, we keep getting better, we keep competing, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to prepare us for the season and fall camp coming up. So
I'm going to put my sports psychology hat on. Seems like you're big on traits like trust and also Being ego-less, that's what I'm kind of picking up. You can have an ego, but you choose not to. And talk about why trust is so important to you, too.
Well, don't misunderstand me. I have an ego,
Sure.
but it's just being able to.
Is it in check? It's pretty managed? You're conscious of it?
I'd say so. Yeah, everybody has an ego. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you have an ego about your profession and what you do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So everybody has an ego. It's just being able to manage it and know when it's the right time to exploit that.
But that's a key point, though, that you can recognize it and determine. Where did you pick up on that? Is that something new you've kind of developed?
I wouldn't say it's new. I mean, it's kind of just being humble, but also having an understanding of the kind of player that you are.
Yeah. But would you agree that's noteworthy, the way you take that approach, instead of being completely over the top or so humble that you can't accomplish what you want to accomplish?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And speaking on trust, that's an important thing with the staff, with the players. If the coaches don't trust you, they won't put you in a game. And if you can't trust the people playing beside you, it's going to be hard communicating, getting things through. So that's, if the most important part for a team is trust.
Great, I appreciate
How much do you
that.
think the talent overall is better than? I mean, better than what the results indicated? I guess the last couple of years on this defense and in general the team itself.
Yeah, the people that stayed, we had talent here before, so don't get it confused. We were just in a bad situation last year, but we had talent here, and the people that stayed are going to be great contributors. We brought in some new pieces as well, some freshmen coming in, and transfers. So we have a really good team coming up this year. We're competing against each other each and every practice, which is going to better set us up for the season coming up.
In what ways can you feel that you're better than you were maybe last November? I know you haven't been scrimmaging a lot yet, but can you feel that at this point?
Yeah, I'd say so. I've been talking to some people about last year and how I felt just more comfortable. I'm seeing things a little bit better, gaining information a little bit faster than I was around this time last year. So.
Jordan, sorry if you answered this already, but you talked about guys who stayed. Why did you decide to stay and take on this new challenge? I'm sure somebody with your experience could have went somewhere else and been picked up. So I'm just wondering why you wanted to stay and why you wanted to do this new chapter deal here.
Like I kind of touched on it earlier, I was committed to being here. I think a lot of people, outside in, they kind of assumed that that's the route that I was going to take. But I never said to anybody that I was leaving or contemplating leaving. So, like I was saying, December of 2023, I was enrolled here. That never changed, so I just showed up here. But regarding that question, Coach Rossi had, a good part of me staying here. Our first conversation, he told me a lot of the things he wanted me to work on rather than, blowing smoke and, telling me the things that I did well, and I really appreciate that. And I think it's been paying out. I've learned a lot of information from him, gaining new skills and whatnot. So
You said your mom likes you being here. What does your mom like about Michigan State?
I'm honestly just the atmosphere, and I know she hasn't got up here yet to meet the new staff, but me and her are kind of similar, so I think that she'll like them just as much as I have. Me and her we're very loyal and trustworthy people. So once we say we're gonna do something, we're in it. So
What does Velling look like at tight end? I mean, is he a tough cover, I guess?
I don't think I've had any situations yet so far this spring where I've had to guard him man on man, but he's working every day extra. He's been a really good weapon for the offense from what I've seen. He'll be a really good player for us.
Your mom's been working to recruit a lot of the other moms, it seems like. She and Aiden's mom, too.
Yeah, Aiden, Nick's mom, I think also. So she's always putting her input on Twitter and whatnot. So yeah.
Did they have a Spartan Moms?
So, yeah, something like that. I don't know what they got cooking up, but it'll be good though. But.
What would you say?
Last one, I gotta get Jordan some lunch here.
Sorry,
You're
you touched
good.
on this already, Jordan. Just how would you describe the biggest differences between the system you played last year and what you're trying to learn now?
Last year, actually, I want to start. With Coach Rossi's, defense, it's linebacker oriented. I feel like we're putting more positions to make plays and not cover space. And just go out, play ball, get downhill, and have fun. So.
Gotcha.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jordan.